Hi, so my name is James O'Reilly. I'm 50 years old. I was born in Dublin, Ireland, and I deal with cyclic vomiting syndrome. Had it as a child. My mom would say that I would get sick to the yellow of my stomach and that I wouldn't get better until I get all of that bile and yellow acid out of my stomach. And so I remember as a child here and there being sick, really sick at times, but didn't really pay much attention to it. Always kind of had an inner feeling that something was a little different, but that's okay. Different is good. So anyway, as a young child, then I moved to the States as an 8-year-old and didn't really get sick much then. Then when I was a teenager, and certainly when I go back to visit my cousins in Ireland, I would get sick for 2 or 3 days. Figured I just wasn't a drinker like they are, and was able to just, deal with it and figured I'm not a drinker. So throughout high school and college, no issues. Played hockey all the time, played sports, worked outside in the heat at a golf course. None of those were really problems. Again, every now and then it would happen where I'd go out partying with friends and, feel miserable for a day or two. Then when I was 28, it started to happen. We were at a party, we were out late, got back, I don't know, 5 in the morning, and woke up the next day at 2 in the afternoon and was sick for 2 days, and it was really bad. And then that kind of started it where it was happening 3, 4 times a year. And again, I wasn't drinking, so I didn't think that was it. Knew something wasn't right. And probably after about 2 or 3 years of going to the ER, I try and write it out at home. I would get very dehydrated, vomit blood because I'd rip my esophagus, dehydrated, just feeling the worst. I mean, the worst. I've shattered my elbow. That wasn't even half as bad as what I go through with cyclic vomiting syndrome. Um, anyway, went to the ER a bunch of times. No one could figure it out. No tests to prove what it is. Everything was coming back negative. We still knew something wasn't right. Um, so my ex-wife, probably after about 2 years of this, and one morning at 4 in the morning, the doctor's saying, "We know what's wrong with him. He vomits. Everybody vomits." Well, that wasn't acceptable to her. She went to the office. Within 15 minutes, she found cyclic vomiting syndrome, and literally word for word, I was going through what that described. So I was probably diagnosed around 28, 29, and went to a bunch of doctors, got that confirmed. I went out to see Dr. Fleischer in Missouri. He kind of confirmed that was it. I believe I was patient 432, if I remember correctly. And anyway, he made me feel, boy, the relief of just knowing what's wrong with you helps because, like G.I. Joe said, knowing is half the battle. And if you know what's going on, then maybe you can deal with it a little bit more. So it got to the point where I was having anywhere from 20 episodes to 40 episodes in a year. My worst years were 38 episodes, 38 hospitalizations one year, 40 the next, and then like 38 the next after that. And so those were some tough years, needless to say. And, I was able to get through all of that. And yeah, so I still tried to play hockey when I could. It wasn't when I'm sick, I'm really sick. Like I said, ripped esophagus, Mallory Weiss tear, vomiting acid, vomiting bile. It doesn't go away until I get that stuff out of my stomach. Nothing digests. Anyway, so when I usually go to the hospital now, I walk into the ER. James, come on in, room number 11. The IV team's been called. The pharmacy's getting the O'Reilly cocktail together. And so that really helps. It helps in the wear and tear of my body. It helps just in the recovery afterwards. Getting plenty of fluids and plenty of meds is just tremendous relief, both physically and also mentally. The comfort of the fact that I know that I can walk into a hospital, that A, they know me, and B, that they're taking me serious about this. Because I've been in many situations where doctors are telling me, there's nothing wrong with you, or, are you drinking? I once had a 6'4" nurse ask me if I was a heroin addict. I weigh comfortably over 250 pounds. I'm definitely not a heroin addict. So anyway, it's just a lot of misinformation out there. I'm finding that more and more of the younger doctors are certainly aware of it and have a better understanding of what's going on. I've certainly run across enough doctors, both in the ER and other doctors, telling me, oh, it's because of marijuana use, or it's because it's all in your head. Just people that either don't understand, don't want to understand. Just that I don't get. I don't understand how doctors don't want to learn more about things that people don't know about. Anyway, so for the last 22 years as an adult, I've been dealing with it. This year, I've already been in the hospital, I will say about 15 times. No, sorry, 15 episodes. I've probably written three or four of them out at home. I'm not going to do that anymore. I had one last week, and it took me 3 days after I stopped vomiting to recover. And so just get to the hospital, get the right stuff done, get the right, meds in me, and then my, 20 to 30 hours of vomiting then is, once I get out of the hospital, I'm in great shape. I feel rested. I'm well hydrated. That definitely doesn't happen at home. It got to the point where I got a port in my chest because I just couldn't find veins in my arms anymore. That was the best thing that I've done. It's just been phenomenal. It's again another relief. I'm certainly very, very lucky that I can go to a hospital, like I said, and walk in and they take care of me. They know me. I know all the nurses on the floors, so we've become brothers and sisters to some degree. Talk about family and this and that. Um, so that is tremendous. Like I said, getting back to the illness, if I don't get that acid or that yellow bile out of my stomach, then it just continues on. Um, I don't feel well. As for the future, I understand what I have. I think in the last couple of months, I've realized that probably the biggest part for me with cyclic vomiting syndrome is what brings it on is that if I don't eat, if I don't, I'm in the swimming pool business and it's, you're just fully in gear, galloping all the time, getting stuff done in the summertime. And so I'm finding that if I skip a lunch and I don't eat until, late afternoon, then the next day I tend to have episodes. And those ones aren't half as bad as some of the other ones, but I've just kind of noticed that correlation and that's a problem. Um, and then also for the daily meds I take amitriptyline. I was on a really high dose. I gained a lot of weight. I've lowered it. I've dropped maybe 15 pounds. So that's been a big help. Maybe lower it again. I'm at 50 milligrams right now. I take a milligram of Ativan every night just to help sleep. Again, with my shattered elbow, I have a lot of problems sleeping the last couple of years. That at least knocks me out for 5 or 6 hours, and that's a tremendous help. If I'm rested, then I'm feeling pretty good. Um, and then I take Prevacet 30 milligrams every day just for the antacid and the acid production. And if I miss a couple of days there, I'll start to feel not well. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. As far as my life goes, so I run and I own my own swimming pool construction and service company. We're up in Westchester County, north of New York City. Um, days can be long, the hours can be long, the stress is certainly there if you let it get to you. I don't feel stress anymore. If you have cyclic vomiting syndrome, your dirty pool isn't as important sometimes. And I also let all my clients know what I have and what I deal with. And I also have some good guys that I've worked with for 15 or 20 years, 25 years that I can depend on. And we all know my situation and we all act accordingly off of that. Um, I have a 11-year-old son, and I can tell you that that's what gets me through every single episode, every single day. That I just want to see him on the other side of that episode. I want to see him get big, I want to see him to be healthy, and I want him to have a great life, and I want to be a part of it. And if it wasn't for him, certainly I probably wouldn't be here sitting here talking to you guys. It's like I said, um, being sick as often as I had. I can, and not that I ever would, but I can certainly understand why people would just want to get it all over with. And being as miserable as that, I feel like I'm lucky because I only get sick for 30, 40 hours and then I'm done with it. And then I'm, back to being my normal self. Certainly, I've heard tons of stories and spoken to tons of people that have it and they're nauseous for 15, 20, 30 days at a time. And I just don't know how they do that. I get it anyway. So unfortunately, over the years, I've heard of some people that just didn't want to deal with it anymore, and they took the that way out. Um, but you got to be strong. Got to hang in there. No, I got to say, and I know what a miserable day's all about, and today's not one of them. And that's how I go. That's just how I get through it all. Tomorrow's gonna be better, no doubt about it. If I am sick, and if today, like today, today's a great day. Doesn't matter what happens. Today's a great day. I've got my health. I can stand up. So it's all good on that end. Um, but I think the biggest advice or words of encouragement are tomorrow's another day. You'll be able to get through it. You're certainly strong enough. You've fought through it this long. Um, there's a certain toughness in a lot of us that you can. My feeling is that I can handle anything thrown at me. If I'm dealing with this, I can handle anything else that's being thrown with me. And I think that that's just what you have to do. Today's not a good day. Tomorrow's going to be better. You got to just live in the hope and the desire that tomorrow's going to be a better day. And if you can try and figure out what triggers you, then it's going to be a better day because you can do at least something about it. And if you do get sick like I do, you start learning, and even after 22 years of this, I'm still learning what some of my triggers are, what brings it on, how it happens. Um, yeah. So anyway, all I can say is hang in there if you're dealing with it. Someone's always got it worse. That's my feeling. And I guess I'm just an optimist. Glass is always half full with me, that's for sure. Um, anyway, I hope everybody stays well and have a great day.